So, Nick, I'm freaking thrilled to have you here. Welcome to Clean and Sober Stoner.
Yeah, thanks.
Like, your writing has been on fire lately.
Yeah, I've been like really going overdrive with it.
Yeah, how in the hell do you pull that off? Because every time I log on to Instagram or wherever, I'm seeing another one of you. Like, good God, it takes me like light years to get one post out, and you're just going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think of myself more like as a writer first and foremost. I've been doing it for a long time, and I think with the blog, eventually I just found like a comfort zone where the writing portion became a lot easier. So it's like most of the stuff I'm doing is like it's not like super complicated, you know. It's kind of like half baked opinions on on music. So it's but I've been better at like organizing things too.
Oh God, you just seem hella organized. I just read something like the top psychedelic albums of May.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm a boomer. I don't know how to do that shit. How do you get multiple pictures on there? It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because but like my background is I have a journalism degree.
Okay.
I've worked in the media industry pretty much my whole adult life. So
oh wow.
I've been doing stuff similar to this for a while. So this is more so just me applying all that stuff to something like this, you know.
So tell us a little bit about your site. What's going on with it? How did it start?
It really just started on a whim, sort of, because I had been, you may know, I was writing for Pat at Monster Riff.
Oh, it shows.
Yeah. But that's how it started for me, because I had never written about music before. I've written about like plenty of other stuff. Like I started my like quote unquote writing career started in sports writing, but that's like another story. Yeah, I was looking for freelance work, and I reached out to Pat, and I had worked with Pat at a full-time job before, actually.
Okay.
Like a long time ago. It's like a decade ago now. He told me he started this site, and I think it was pretty early in the process for him when he started Monster Riff. Started writing for him just to have a freelance gig, and I really enjoyed it, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But I wrote one post in particular about psychedelic rock that did really well, so it just kind of gave me the idea to keep going with it.
Wow. And so when did you put your own site together?
I think it was probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago now.
Okay, that's what I thought, because you know, I started taking my site a little bit more seriously, and once I got on the Doom charts at the beginning of the year, all of a sudden I see your stuff popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
So, do you have other people that write for you?
Yeah, Tom from Tom's Reviews.
Tom Hanno.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him on this channel.
Yeah. Tom's a really cool guy, and he's helped a lot because, like I've been writing a ton recently, but I wasn't really able to for a long time because the job that I had, I was working as a reporter, and it was a really like demanding, kind of all-consuming job.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't have a ton of time to listen to anything or really write much. And Tom kind of like kept me going for a long time because it was just good to have like a partner in the process. And for a while, he was like the only one writing anything for the site for quite a few months.
Yeah, that was a good catch getting Tom. Although I just thought of a new parlor game we could play is name the sites that Tom is not writing for.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom's a good writer.
Yeah, he is, and puts out a lot of material. Super humble guy. You were lucky to get Tom. I love his work. So you're a member of the Doom charts, right?
Yeah. So I started that I think when I was still just writing for Monster Riff, and Pat recommended me, so I've been doing that. But yeah, that's That's really fun too.
How long have you been part of it now?
Probably around, I guess it's been around a little bit longer than I've been doing the Third Eye, so probably a little bit longer.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you were in the charts before you started your own site.
I'm pretty sure everything. I can't remember exactly. It's what's going on.
People don't know. I don't whine, but I mention them every interview. We get freaking saturation bombed with material.
Yeah, yeah,
But then you're very specific in your niche, right?
yeah.
So, how much of that stuff that we get, which is what, about 100 electronic promotion kits, out of all those, how many do you find with what we get in Doom charts, and how much do you find on your own?
It varies. I mean, with Doom charts, I mean, it seems like a lot of the stuff from Doom charts is very metal oriented, and it doesn't really fit like the Third Eye wheelhouse too much. For the most part, at least the promo emails that we get, usually a lot of like death metal, black metal.
I know.
I mean, I'm not going to write about that.
I mean, no, I have nothing against them, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as I get one of these things and it says crust punk blackened death metal, I'm like, because there's other people who can handle that.
That's like that. That's not really like my specialty, but I get a fair amount of emails, but I also look for a lot of stuff too. I spend a lot of time on Bandcamp, just kind of doing deep dives and seeing what interests me. Like I'll play a couple tracks, and if I really find it interesting, I'll pursue it.
What kind of things catch your eye going through Bandcamp?
So I mean, I think there's like a specific number like of like genre tags that I look for. Like I always usually look for I mean, psychedelic is an obvious one, but then neo psychedelia is a tag that I look for a lot. I do look at a lot of stoner rock coming from Monster Riff, you know. But then like plus there's a lot of stoner stuff that's very adjacent to psychedelic. Kind of becomes like that heavy psychedelic category. But those are pretty much the main ones. I have like I do actually really like. There's a pretty weird genre that people are using on Bandcamp now. Tags cosmic country.
Okay, you got me there.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like psychedelic Americana music.
You're flashing me back to like 1985. Because when Cowboy Junkies came out,
exactly.
I was reading about them in Spin magazine, and they put them off as this like almost psychedelic country rock band, which I don't know they kind of did. Sweet Jane was pretty trippy, but that is an awesome. Hold on. So cosmic country? Yeah.
It's, I mean, the way I think about it is, you know, like Americana as a genre label didn't exist until like the 90s, I think.
Right.
So with cosmic country, it's another thing that it's like, you know, it's like, how real is it, sort of?
Right.
But maybe, I don't know who coined the phrase. I think it was actually Graham Parsons who like coined the phrase.
That makes a lot of sense.
But for whatever reason, like people are super interested in it right now, and I'm one of them. So
you know, I can't help it right now. I'm flashing on Space Slug, covering classic Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson songs.
Yeah.
That would be. Ooh, there's an idea. I'll send it off to him. So why psych? What got you into psych?
I mean, I think I like music that kind of like pushes the boundaries a little bit, like is like challenging to listen to, experimental. One of the ironic things, like I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but I'm sober. I've been in recovery.
Oh, you just blew it, man. What the hell? You know, I wrote down, I've got these sticky tags up there. Don't mention recovery.
It's okay. But anyway, it's super ironic because I started writing for Pat, and it's like I'm writing about stoner rock, and I've been I haven't had a drink since like 2011.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, I think it. Like, I don't know if there's anything in particular, like, because like Americana music is probably one of my favorite genres. You know, it's like kind of my go-to. But I just have like a journalistic interest in like psychedelic music, and I've always like been drawn to it. So I don't know why I picked that in particular, but it just stuck.
That would explain your almost encyclopedic knowledge of psychedelic. And I gotta be honest, I had a hard time with it. I remember, it was back in the 80s when I was first getting into music like big time, and I bought Surrealistic Pillow by Jefferson Airplane. I don't think I've ever been more disappointed with an album, unless it was some Grateful Dead horrific, just makes me want to type stuff. So psychedelic back then, how do you describe, so from a journalistic sense, what do you think, how did psychedelic develop? What makes something psychedelic, and how has it changed? 3 questions, your journalist brain can handle that.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not an expert, obviously. You know, like, I'm just like a guy with a blog, you know? And I've learned a bit from writing about it, but I will say that. But, like, from what I've read and, like, what I've listened to over the past, like, year or so and what I knew before, a lot of it, like, really is super tied to the drug culture. Mm-hmm. Maybe unfortunately, but whatever. Like, psychedelic music wouldn't exist if not for psychedelic drugs, to a large extent. From like what I've read, and like, you know, there was a ton of LSD flooding America in the 60s, and that kind of led to the development of musicians trying these like mind expanding things. And like a lot of things they talked about when they were making those albums in the late 60s is they wanted to mimic what it felt like to be having a psychedelic drug experience.
That makes sense.
But at the same time, like, the reason why I still like it, even though I, like, honestly have never used a psychedelic drug, is because there's also like an aspect of it where it's about like mind expanding type stuff, you know, and there's almost like a spiritual aspect to it too, I think, where you're thinking about just kind of like opening your mind and expanding your consciousness.
Plus, like, I use it also to alter mood.
That too, yeah.
So, you know, like everybody else, I really huge ups and downs. I've had my job's pretty dark being a counselor.
Yeah.
And there's some extreme psychedelic music. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. A band out of Switzerland called Black Willows.
Okay.
And they describe their music as, you know, sonically induced trips, and it's very heavy. And if you don't know them, I'll send you some info and links, writing up on them. So it alters my brain, it alters my mood. Drugs work, right? Because, well, they work.
Right.
You know, I can take this, I'm going to feel like this, and it works like every single time, unless you got bunk, right?
Yeah.
But same thing with the music. So do you use it in your recovery at all? Do you think it's part of your recovery?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a really healing aspect to it, I think. And I think, you know, that's why, like, I make jokes about it in my writing, like, oh, this is good to trip out to or whatever. But it's just not like, I'm just being like facetious, sort of. But like, yeah, I mean, I think, like, really good, like some of the best psychedelic music, just like songs that, you know, like the type of song that's just like 12 minutes long that you can just get lost in, you know, where you're just kind of lying around, like, and you don't, like, the music can be what can alter the mood and make you high. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be stoned to be listening to it. You know,
who are your go-tos for that?
There's a ton of different bands. I mean, it's hard nowadays because I've been listening to so much that it just kind of, it's like oversaturation. It's like information overload, you know, like, but, I mean, I really like, King Buffalo's early work. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't liked their newer stuff actually, as much, but and I haven't listened to it as much, but like some of those early albums they did, like the Dead Star type stuff, I thought that was just totally awesome, you know. And another band that's like kind of a go-to for me, they're like not necessarily psychedelic, but they can be sometimes, is All Them Witches probably. But they have a lot of different like nuance to them. They play a lot of music that's like really blues based though.
So I got a chance to see King Buffalo, not far from where I live, just outside of Raleigh, and they were opening for All Them Witches.
Yeah.
So I'm standing outside the venue, and first I see this like 18-year-old kid wearing an ancient sleep shirt.
Yeah.
Which immediately I'm like, dude, I mean, your parents were probably kids when this came out. And then I'm listening to King Buffalo warm up, and they're playing a track from Lore by Elder.
Yeah.
So trippy as hell hearing King Buffalo. But I'm ashamed of this, but I used to have to get up at 3 a.m. I left right after King Buffalo, and I totally missed All Them Witches.
Oh, okay.
Which, looking back on it, I'm like, really? But yeah, those are really good choices. Can we go back to the King Buffalo thing?
Yeah.
So what is it? I mean, do you have any sense of where they've kind of lost you in their newer stuff?
It's not necessarily that they lost me. It's just like my opinion and my personal taste. But like I was super excited when they came out with that trilogy of albums during the pandemic, and there was, I can't remember like everything off the top of my head, but there was a couple albums where I just remember the songs were like shortened significantly. Like they're like 3 and 4 minute tracks.
Like Silverfish?
Yeah, sort of like that. And that's just like kind of my personal taste. Like I wanted like something that was more, and I guess Acheron was kind of like that too, where it had the longer jams. Like I kind of just wanted like an album where it was like an hour long and like 4 tracks or something like that, you know?
Dude, you're talking my language. So.
Yeah.
What about the band who I'm showing off behind me, Color Haze? Any experience with them?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't dug too deep into them, but yeah, of course I know about them, and yeah, they're really cool. So another band that I'll mention that I was somewhat obsessed with for a while, and they're not necessarily psychedelic, but close to it, is Ohm. And that's, I mean, obviously, like you have Sleep, but that's a band that's like, I mean, you just feel like you're having a spiritual experience when you're listening to them.
Yeah, that's the point. So Danger Time. So what Ohm? I'm sorry, man. You just keep digging a hole. So what Ohm have you heard?
I think it was when I was first writing for Monster Riff, and I kind of started digging around with different stuff. I think the album that I really liked the most was Advatic Songs.
Oh yeah.
There's like that track Gethsemane, and I can't remember the names of all the tracks, but just like the sound of that bass is just like incredible.
Yeah, it's epic.
Like I'm not sure if like, because I remember playing out Advatic Songs, like playing that over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
But Conference of Birds, like I don't remember getting into that one as much, and I do remember it sounding a little bit like harsher than.
Yeah. Oh, it's
like
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's no compression on the album.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I play it with headphones, all of a sudden my drivers start to distort.
Right.
Which means it's the ultimate album for half the people who are going to watch this.
Yeah.
But it's like going to, man, I'm so glad you said Ohm. And I think they are psychedelic, but from a different perspective, right? It's
Right.
more of the religious, the spiritual, the meditative side, which psychedelia also kind of brought in.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah, they're a big one, and that reminds me of another band too that I interviewed. They went on tour recently. I interviewed them about that, but King Bastard, and they're all huge Sleep fans. I mean, everybody in this scene is a Sleep fan, but
Yeah.
but I remember talking to them about it. But that's the stuff that I like really love, like a band like King Bastard that like is able to like take something so heavy and make it psychedelic at the same time is like a really potent like combination, I think.
Did you hear the new Acid King?
Yeah, I really like that one too.
Yeah, that just absolutely love that album. Beyond Vision is, and I always thought Acid King, I used to get, when I was first listening to them, I thought their early work, like Bussy Woods, was psychedelic. It would put me into a trance.
Yeah.
But I see now what they're saying, because now she's using effects and synthesizers, but good stuff.
Yeah. So
what are some bands you think that everybody should check out?
Recently I've been really drawn to, like I said, you know, I've been drawn to like the cosmic country stuff, but for the most part, when I write about that, it doesn't seem like anybody cares on my blog.
Okay.
It just, but I still write about it sometimes just because I really like it. But
isn't that frustrating? I don't want to let that one go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I write about what I like, so it's yeah.
We put our heart and soul into something, and boom, 17 views.
Yeah.
But gosh darn, I write or do a YouTube video on Uriah Heep, and it's in thousands.
Yeah. There's definitely certain topics, you know.
It's hard to find the audience, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't, like, honestly, I don't know if I really like think about it in that kind of way, like, because I was talking to someone recently. I was talking to Pat from Monster Riff about like goals for the blog and that type of thing, and I don't really necessarily have any goals for the blog. It's just kind of like a thing that I enjoy doing, and it's like of course I definitely look at like the traffic and stuff like that, but like I don't have any specific plans for it. It's just kind of something that I enjoy. I'm gonna do as much as I can for as long as I can.
I'm actually shocked, and I'll tell you why. Because, and just so you know, I wouldn't have known that you worked with Pat at Monster Riff, but once I learned that, right, and then I see how you write, how you have things organized, your social media presence is like, oh yeah, he has spent time talking to Pat.
Yeah, Pat's a super smart guy, especially with marketing and that type of thing. But I think of myself kind of like I'm okay at that stuff, but I think of myself just more as a writer, and I have like a kind of compulsive tendency to write about stuff sometimes.
I love that.
You know?
Well, and that's why I want to get you on here. And I'm thrilled to death that you said yes, because I think you are clearly one of the best writers on the scene, period.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're the most consistent. And I won't name the people I'm comparing you to, but it's consistent. It's extremely well written. It's extremely well organized. I just want to figure out how the hell do you do that? And then I find out sports journalist. So are you still doing sports journalism?
No, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, I worked in newspapers, and I wrote about like politics. I wrote about, my last job was writing about real estate. So it's
the most exciting.
Yeah, it's like kind of the opposite of like writing about psychedelic rock. The exact opposite.
Although the people in the real estate market now could probably use some psychedelics.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it in Silicon Valley, I guess. So, microdosing. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just all over the place. I mean, I've just always been like, I just kind of think of myself as a writer and kind of a nerdy person who just really likes to, dig into subjects and like really cover it extensively, you know.
Well, you're one of the best players on the game.
Thanks.
I know that a lot of people have been turned on to music they otherwise wouldn't have found. And I think what you're doing has big value. And I'm just thrilled to death you're doing what you're doing. I would love to get you on sometime and just do a couple reviews.
Okay. Yeah.
My newbie doomer, my CEO and girlfriend, she had a great idea that she would call Uncharted.
Okay.
Which is where I get together with Doom Charts bloggers and writers and talk about the albums that didn't chart.
Okay.
You know, the ones that get... So are you one of the guys that, like, your top 10, like, gets one vote, or...
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen people, like, in the Facebook group talk about it before. I think most of us, I mean, there's, like, I don't know how many people contribute, but it's a lot. The list is pretty long, but I think there's usually consistently, like, 10 albums that everyone agrees on. Mm-hmm. And then everything else is like totally somewhat random, just like personal preference. So
totally agree.
Yeah,
like the most obscure, again, crust punk, blackened death metal. But now we can add Cosmic Country to that list.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna go to Bandcamp. I'm gonna put in hashtag Cosmic Country and see what in the hell comes up.
Yeah.
So, dude, is there anything I didn't ask you today that you really wanted to talk about?
No, not necessarily.
You're so laid back.
Oh, yeah. No, I have an intense personality, but only on some things, you know. Like, for the most part, I'm pretty chill.